What's up, guys? You know who it is. Marcus J. Jackson with another Live Life episode for you. All right? This is number 62, freedom. All right? Tonight we're going to be talking about freedom. Had some technical difficulties earlier, so that's why I'm just now getting started here at 12:26 in the morning. Anyway, I make myself available every night between the hours of 12 a.m. and 2 a.m. I do a video for about 30-45 minutes, and I take calls, inboxes, answer emails, and things of that nature for the remainder of the time. Or if I don't get any calls, I just at 2 o'clock I just kind of shut off. So with that being said, if you are in a situation where, suicide is something that you are thinking about, I would advise you to please hop off this video, call 911, and get you some help immediately. All right. And one of the main reasons that I do these videos is that nobody should have to go through anything like that alone. And if life is that difficult and, things are happening for you, things are looking down for you, I wouldn't want to be alone in a situation like that. So, I don't think people should have to be alone. So, I felt like, hey, let me provide a platform where, people can just kind of check in, for accountability purposes, if nothing else. And somebody is saying something positive, about life and, ways that they can cope with anxiety, depression, and, if you're having suicidal thoughts or you're in a domestic violence situation, this is somewhere where you can come, you can ask questions, you can comment, you can go through my Facebook page and look at all of the different, comments and videos and people talking back and forth about what's going on in their life as well. So please feel free to do that. All right, please feel free to do that. Please feel free to reach out to me. Please feel free to reach out to others. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline contact number is 1-800-273-8255. The Domestic Violence Hotline is 1-800-799-7233. All right. And reach out to both of those resources. They can definitely point you in the right direction. And, they do have professionals available that, are able to talk to you as well. You can reach me at 469-626-7486. You can reach out to me. I'll talk to you as long as I can. And, we'll see where it goes from there. So, anyway, so freedom. All right. Freedom, freedom, freedom. I had a very, very long discussion with a young lady today, and she has been in a situation where there was a domestic violence issue. There's also, some past attempts at suicide. Make sure you have your tea, people. Make sure you have your tea. All right. If you need to, take a quick pause, go get you some tea. And, because we'll be talking for a little bit. All right. Anyway, be safe out there. All you Halloween partiers, parties, whatever you call it. Out there tricking and treating. Be careful out there. Be safe. And this being the last day in October, the last day, quote unquote, for Domestic Violence Month, I definitely want to make sure I got a video in for that. So this young lady was in a situation where there was some domestic violence going on, and also some attempts of suicide. Now, the reason why I titled this video Freedom is because there is, once you are relieved of this type of life, there is a sense of freedom, because ultimately you've been entrapped for, however long you've been, whether months, years, or however long you endured this type of abusive relationship. And in this particular case of domestic violence was very, very extreme, very, very controlling. And this young man will go out of his way to check up on this young lady, make sure she was where she said she was going to be, making sure, constant phone calls, tracking systems on the phone, tracking systems on the car, popping up at places where she said she was going to be, and when she wasn't there, or she'll say she just left, it would turn into a bunch of drama. So living like that is hard. All right, living like that is very, very difficult for anybody, that is being constantly controlled and or micromanaged in that manner. So when you that is definitely something to celebrate when you make it through something like that, and live to tell about it. And some people don't. Some of the aggressors or abusers would probably do this. They usually do this to women until death. They literally, what would you call it? You would love them to death by micromanaging every single aspect of their life. This young man also went so far as to make sure she wore the certain kind of clothing that he picked out for her for that day, almost as if she was a child almost. And of course, this woman is in her mid-30s, and she's dealing with this individual for years. And when I say he literally controlled every aspect of her life, he did. He even went so far as to he had the what do you call the thing, the odometer on the car marked, and if she said she was going somewhere, he would make sure it's this far there and it's this far that you should come back, or you should be back at this time and at that time. And I'm like, wow. And as she just continued to say, all these different things about how she was micromanaged, it literally baffled me. And I thought about it, and I'm like, man, that takes a lot of time. That takes a great deal of concentration. That takes you got to be. And this young man had a full-time job. She had a full-time job, and he had a full-time job. And I'm like, how do you find time to do that? I literally don't have time to do that. Like, I don't even know anybody that I'm remotely close to that has time, just extra freedom time to do that. And even if they did, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't fucking waste it doing shit like that. I just how many miles it takes for you to get a point A to point B. Like, she literally only was able to go to work, from work, pick up her daughter, or drop her off, or whatever the case. And if there were any extra miles that she took, she suffered for it. He punished her for it. All right. So and I've heard it all, but that right there takes the cake. I've never heard of a micromanaging, ultimate controlling type of it. So that was a first for me, and I was just like, wow. I mean, it's not anything that I'm not. It wasn't unfamiliar, but it was just like I've never heard it in that depth before. For somebody to why I don't even know why you would want to control some. Matter of fact, not only is that slavery, having to go through that on the receiving side, but on the abuser side, dude, you're enslaved yourself. Like, you have literally enslaved yourself as an individual, dedicating your life to micromanaging somebody else's. And as I'm thinking about that, I'm like, dude, you're the one that's enslaved. You're enslaved to your mind, to your thought process, because if you literally think that you're going to be able to micromanage somebody's life from point A to point B every single day of their life, day in and day out, you're trapped. Like, you're literally trapped. You've taken on the complete responsibility for another human being, right? For the rest of their life. What? When do you get a break? I don't understand that. But I mean, hey, that's what they do. Let me go to the chat real quick. Charles Wood says someone always looking over your shoulders. Yep, oppression, mental and physical slavery. Yep, absolutely. And that entrapment goes both ways. Now that I'm really thinking about it, the epiphany just kind of hit me that, there is something, that gentleman has to experience, that's going to, break him up of that. I don't see that experience lasting too long with any female, especially, the more we uplift each other, and the more we provide platforms like this, the more, platforms like Live Life. You also have I Speak Foxy Facebook page. She has platforms where, she's reaching out and providing information for individuals as well. So, I'm going to do my part and make sure, I leave some communication lines open on my page. I make myself available on phone, email, so feel free to reach out to me. You also have the professionals, the resources right here in the comments as well. And, by all means, piggyback off some of the people that are here, reach out to the people that you see comment on this particular feed here. Reach out to them, talk to them. They can provide a listening ear, or they may be able to provide a perspective that's different from mine or anybody else's. So you never know. Just connect, with those people who are positive, those people that you trust. Connect with them, and share these things that have happened to you, because you never know who it may help. You never know who it may help. So I want you, if you are in an abusive situation, or there's a domestic violence situation going on where you are, I want you to think for a minute about the freedom that you either once had, or the freedom that you could have, right? Like Charles said, there's no one looking over your shoulder anymore. No one there to micromanage your life. That right there is for me would be abuse enough, to where I would literally have to, I would have to do something to relieve myself of that issue. So, I would invite you to find a safe plan. A safe plan is what I would call it. Find a way. Start planning. Start reaching out to people so you can formulate, a way to get help. I know only you know how serious the situation is. I don't. So I can't give sound advice. But I can tell you that, you definitely need to, find a way to get help for yourself, or get help for, your spouse, but be it male or female. It makes a difference when you have someone that's willing to work with you. maybe, by watching this video and you understand that it's entrapment on both sides, like you are basically enslaving yourself by trying to micromanage someone else's life. Okay. I don't know. Maybe you could present this to your spouse or whoever you're in a relationship with. And maybe you can present this to them and say, hey, have you ever thought about it this way? Look at how much trouble you have to go through in order to keep up with me, right? Maybe if you present it to them that way, they may be able to see, hey, you might spark some kind of switch, and they may have an epiphany that, you know what, you're right. I am doing too much. I do need some fucking help. I really do. I need to figure out a way, where I'm not so insecure, or I don't have these emotional or psychological hangups on your whereabouts. If you're going to leave, if you're going to come back, are you going to run away with this guy? Are you going to run away with this girl? Or, and once you're able to internalize that, hey, I can be secure. I can go out there and be, an individual person. I can handle my life on my terms, right? I can be independent. And once you start to inhabit that thought process, then, you can start working towards making the situation better. All right. But as long as you kind of, you sit there and you kind of take these things and you never come to the realization that this is literally insane. Somebody controlling every single aspect of my life is insane. And I want it to change. You gotta, you have to do that. You have to come to the terms that this is not the way that you want to live. All right. There is, like I said, there's resources there that you can tap into. I also want to talk about the potential of an abuser to heal. All right. And I know I made a couple of videos. I made a video a couple of nights back, and I said the words that I don't think there's any help for an abuser, right? I think that they have a narcissistic way, a sociopathic way of mindset, and they're never going to change. And I apologize for that because not too long ago I spoke with a young lady who actually was experiencing a domestic violence situation with an abuser, a long-time abuser. But this young lady was the only young lady that he had dealt with in his life that offered to go with him to get help, who presented the idea that, hey, you can be helped, if you would just get help, and I was baffled. I was really taken aback by that. And I immediately thought of what I said, some days back when I did the Go Live. And I thought about what I said. And I did say that, there is no helping them. They can't be recovered. So I apologize for that and I take that back. I can't take it back, of course, but I apologize. So I stand corrected for that. And, with that being said, this young lady offered to go with her spouse to get help, to work on processing his anger. There was also a alcohol element with that as well. So a lot of his abusive behavior stemmed from being drunk, and alcohol was a very big part of that. And there were times, there wasn't a, she could identify times where he wasn't, he was the most pleasant guy to be around. But after he had been drinking, or once he starts drinking, everything goes downhill from there. So identifying what that's about, identifying, you know, what are we dealing with the alcohol? What are we covering up? Like, why are we using drugs to cope or to self medicate, right? And when you present someone with solutions and say, hey, you know, baby, listen, we can go get some help. We can go to, you know, whoever we need, the counselor. We can go to the coaches. We can go to, what do you call, Alcoholics Anonymous, you know, the AAA program. There's some resources out there that you can tap into, you know, that offer help. And she said that after that happened, everything was, I mean, he was like a completely different man, like the man she met. She said, the man I married came back into my life, and he, you know, never put his hands on me again. And it's the most pleasant man to be around now. And I was, hey, like I said, I was baffled. So I would invite you to seek help, you know, to at least offer, you know, do the due diligence of doing the research yourself, finding a program that fits, you know, your lifestyle, that fits your schedule. You know, I myself would try to make it as easy as possible for my spouse to get this kind of help, you know, whether we need to go in office or do we need to have the professional come in-house, or whatever we need to do to get help for this individual. You know, I would invite you to do that if that's something that you are willing to do. And like I said, that after talking with the young man, this young lady was the only young lady who even mentioned help, who even mentioned that, you know, we can go get help, we can go together. So a lot of times, believe it or not, guys, there is an element out there that doesn't even realize that their situation can be helped, right? There's an element out there that exists that has no clue that what they're doing is abusive, or what they're doing is not serving their spouse. You know, they may literally think that this is how they should be treated because their father treated their mom like this, or their mom treated their dad like this. Okay, so if we understand and we're compassionate, when we're honest with ourselves, we will realize that, yes, there is an element out there that genuinely needs help. And the only thing we have to do is offer, right? We offer, make that offer of help to say, hey, you know, I understand you feel bad. I understand you're upset. I understand life is kicking you in the ass. However, you know, we can get help. There's resources. There's this big head guy on Facebook that talks, you know, for, you know, 30, 45 minutes on his live every night at 12 o'clock. You know, if you're working, you know, see if you can pop on the internet and look at that for. I mean, I don't know. You know, I got resources in the comments as well. So it's just something that I feel like everybody literally has the ability to affect change, right? I really think this is something that, you know, we can all agree that it is not a pleasant situation to be in a domestic violence relationship, or to have thoughts and feelings of suicide and be alone. I'm more than sure that we can all agree on that. I'm more than sure that we've all been affected by that in some way, shape, form, and fashion in our lifetime, right? And that is something that we can all relate to. That's why I feel like this is something that we can do to affect change, and we could do it immediately if we all just check on your people. Check on your people. Call your sister. You know she's married to an asshole, so call him. You know, call your sister and check on her. You know, make sure everything is okay. Or you know that brother of yours, he has an asshole wife, right? And you need to call your brother and check on him. You know, because you know his wife is the asshole. All right, so make sure that you're calling and checking on your people. You know, make sure, hey man, I just want to talk to you. You know, you got a few minutes, or I just wanted to check on you, right? You know, it's Domestic Violence Month. October is Domestic Violence Month. They had walks going on. They had conferences. They had events. They had all kind of stuff going. I was pretty. You know, I was pretty. This is my first time really connecting in a group like that, or with a movement per se like that. And with suicide, the month September is the Suicide Awareness Month, and you know, I really found out a lot. I really learned a lot. I really was able to tap into a lot of resources to reach out for people, and it was amazing. So I believe that if we could all get on, you know, on the same page with understanding that it is very important that we check on our people, on our friends, our family members, just to see how they're doing. No, you don't have to go hang out with them. You don't have to go, you know, retread old ties or anything like that. You don't have to go into a long, deep discussion, you know, about who wronged who or who did who wrong and all that kind of stuff. Just talk to them. Just call and say, hey, man, I wanted to check on you. I know things can be rough sometimes. I know I might have had a rough time, and I just want to make sure you were okay. Okay, man, love you, bye. You know, you have no idea how far that goes. That one phone call, that phone ringing can stop someone from committing suicide. That phone rings and they have to go answer it. So you just basically saved their life, right? You know, or you're that phone call that the person needed to talk to, you know, before they went into the house and did something crazy, you know, to their wife or husband. You know, they're just, you know, they got off work, things are overwhelming, and they need somebody to talk to, you know, and you just call to check on them, just completely calm them down. They're in a different mood. They're better. They're happier. Now they go into the house and everything's hunky-dory, right? So by all means, guys, you know, like I said, check on your people. Just call and check on your people, all right? It's that simple. You know, freedom is something that we all want, right? Whether it's freedom from our jobs or freedom from, you know, a domestic violence situation, freedom from, you know, financial freedom. We want to be free from paying bills and all that good stuff. And, you know, like I said, freedom is something that we can all relate to. And I think that it is something that we want to work towards in these relationships where there's domestic violence involved. Definitely. And, you know, on the suicide prevention side, you want to be free of the anxiety and the depression and things that that keep those negative thoughts in the mind, right? You want to be free from that. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? There's nothing wrong with that. And I really, I wish you well in your venture to freedom, because I know that you will find it, and I know you'll find a way to tap into resources available, or you'll find your own resources that you can make freedom a reality for you, okay? Listen, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Next month is going to be, I don't know. Got some interesting things I'm going to talk about next month. I know that I'm going to be talking more about relationships. And I'm going to go into dating. I'm going to talk about dating next month. Well, this coming month. So relationships, dating. I'm going to talk about, you know, man and woman issues. So it's going to be pretty interesting, you know, the month of November. So I'm pretty excited about that. And can't wait to hear you guys' comments and feedbacks and inboxes and questions and emails and all that good stuff. So listen, once again, like I said, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate the comments. They are like oxygen. I love reading them. I love chatting with you guys. So tune in. I think I will do my next video. Today is Wednesday. Thursday, Friday, tomorrow or Friday. I'll do my next video. So be looking out. I will post during the day, what I'm going to be talking about. So I will see you next time on the next video. The Live Life series is going to continue. Y'all take it easy. Live life to the fullest and try not to do too much. Peace.